Like many families in Central Ohio, you might be falling behind on your mortgage payment. But there are things you can do to prevent losing your home to foreclosure. The first thing you need to do is contact your mortgage company. Make sure you speak with the loss mitigation department and you follow all of their instructions. Also, make sure you write down everything that you are told, who you spoke with, and gather up any paperwork that they tell you you need to gather, such as checking and saving account statements, your monthly bills, and your tax forms. If you're still having problems speaking with your mortgage company, if they're not responding to what you're asking for, or if they're simply not willing to work with you, the next thing you ought to do is contact a HUD-certified housing counseling agency. There are 5 in Central Ohio. The easiest way to reach them is by dialing 211. They will put you in touch with one of the housing counseling agencies in town. The HUD-certified counselors are there to help you prepare a budget, gather all the documents you need to negotiate with your mortgage company, and they will even help with phone calls and communication with your mortgage company so that you don't have to worry about that. There are alternatives to losing your home in foreclosure. The first is a loan modification. This is a permanent change to the terms of your mortgage. It might add additional principal to your balance because it will add whatever back payments that you have missed. But it is also likely that in a loan modification, your interest rate will be reduced so that you can afford those monthly payments. Temporarily, the mortgage company might have you sign a forbearance agreement, which is typically 3 to 6 months in length and oftentimes is about half your mortgage payment. The forbearance agreement is the opportunity for you to show the mortgage company that you're willing to make those monthly payments and that you're capable of making those monthly payments after you've fallen behind. Once the forbearance period is over, the mortgage company will evaluate your financial position to determine if you're eligible for a loan modification. There are other options as well. If your hardship was very temporary and you have the means to repay the arrearage, the mortgage company could enter into a repayment plan with you. Unfortunately, that will not reduce any of the terms of your mortgage. It will continue to be at the same interest rate. It's just an additional monthly amount that you're tacking on to your regular payment. If you find that you cannot afford to keep your home, there are a few things you can do. The first is, if you do not have any other liens on the property, including a second mortgage, so that means that only one mortgage exists on your property, you can contact the mortgage company and ask to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure. This means that you can sign over the deed to your property and that you can walk away. The mortgage company will not come after you for the balance that is due on your mortgage. Another option is to work with a realtor and contact your mortgage company about a short sale. A short sale is for an amount that might be less than what the balance on your mortgage is, but that the mortgage company agrees they're willing to accept if the sale occurs. When you're working with your mortgage company, it is important that you write down who you spoke with, when you spoke with them, and what information they provided to you and you provided to them. It is also important to continue to follow up with your mortgage company. They have a lot of demand right now, and it is important that you keep your presence at the forefront. It's important that you keep your mortgage at the top of the pile of mortgages that they're servicing right now. And if you're having difficulty with that, again, contact a certified housing counseling agency. In the midst of all this, you need to be aware that there are people out to scam you. Stay away from anyone that guarantees they can save your home. Although most of the agencies and legal aid would like to help you and would like to see you keep your home, there is no one that can guarantee that your home will be saved. In addition, HUD-certified counseling agencies do not charge a fee. If you're contacted by someone that asks for a fee up front or a lump sum payment, do not contact them. Again, contact 211 to work with a HUD-certified housing counseling agency. We receive questions all the time about the Home Affordable Modification Program, or HAMP. Not everyone is entitled to HAMP. There are certain criteria that must be met, and not all mortgage companies are participating in this program. Some of the criteria that is required include: the home must be owner-occupied. The principal balance on the mortgage cannot be more than $729,000. The mortgage must have been entered into prior to January 1st, 2009. And your monthly mortgage payment cannot be more than 31% of your gross monthly income. You also must be able to document your hardship. Some examples of hardships are job loss, disability, the death of a spouse. These are all hardships that can be documented, and you must compile that along with your financial documentation. About 2 or 3 months after you've started missing payments, the mortgage companies start the process of foreclosure. Ohio is what is called a judicial foreclosure state. That means that the mortgage companies have to file a lawsuit in order to foreclose on your home. Default has to occur first, and the default is usually defined as not making timely payments on your mortgage. Typically, in most mortgages, default is 30 days. The first thing that the mortgage servicer will do is send you a notice of acceleration or notice of default that lets you know you have fallen behind on your mortgage payments and that they're preparing to exercise their right to file the foreclosure lawsuit against you. At this point, the mortgage company will stop accepting payments. Now, we strongly recommend that if you can afford it, you continue to set aside the monthly mortgage payment or whatever it is you think you can afford towards your mortgage. It will help in trying to negotiate some kind of workout to keeping your home. When the foreclosure is filed, the first paper that has to be filed with the court is what is called a complaint. In a foreclosure complaint, the plaintiff is your mortgage company. The defendant is you, your spouse, if there is a second mortgage or any sort of lien on the property. Oftentimes, property taxes have fallen behind as well, so typically the county treasurer is listed. Sometimes also, if you're behind on your income taxes, the federal or state government can be listed as defendants as well. If you live in a condominium, oftentimes the condominium association is listed as a party to the case as well. The mortgage company has to provide you with the complaint in foreclosure. Typically, you are served by receiving certified mail. Once you sign for the complaint, you only have 28 days to file a response. If you do not file anything, if you do not respond to it in any way, there will be a default judgment, and the case will proceed to sheriff's sale. In Franklin County and some of the surrounding counties, the clerk of courts is providing a form for you to fill out to request mediation. Mediation is a free service. There is no cost to you. What mediation does, it allows you to sit down with a neutral mediator and a representative from the mortgage company and their attorney to try to work out a way for you to keep your home. The mediation form must be filed within 28 days of the date that you signed for the foreclosure paperwork. One of the requirements for participating in the mediation program is for you to go through a HUD certified counseling agency, because prior to the mediation, your mortgage company needs to have a completed budget and all the financial documents compiled. This is also important if you wish to have a legal aid attorney or one of our volunteers represent you at mediation. We cannot evaluate your case for representation until we see all the financial documents. If you do not file for mediation, you will have only 28 days to file an answer, which is your opportunity to deny any of the allegations in the complaint. If you do not file an answer, or if you do not request mediation, the plaintiff's attorney will file a motion for default judgment. The motion indicates that basically you did not disagree with anything that they filed. This can happen within a few days after the 28 days are gone. After the default judgment motion is filed, the judge will sign it, and the case will head towards sheriff's sale. When you received your foreclosure complaint, you probably also received a notice that set out different dates. Dates for when documents were due, dates for pre-trial, for status conference, and even for trial. That is not the calendar that you should be worrying about, because that calendar only comes into effect if an answer has been filed and if certain motions are denied by the court. What you need to focus on is the 28-day period, filing your answer or requesting mediation. And all of that must be done within 28 days of signing for the mortgage papers. Now, if you request mediation, that will stop the case for 60 days in Franklin County, which will give you additional time to gather financial documentation and to hopefully improve your financial position so that you can keep your home. If you filed an answer, the next step will be what is called summary judgment. A couple of weeks after you file your answer, the plaintiff files a motion for summary judgment, basically saying that even though you filed your answer, you're still in default and there really are no issues in dispute. Most of the time, those motions are granted and the plaintiff gets judgment. This is even more crucial. This is why it is even more crucial for you to see a housing counseling agency or an attorney. After judgment, the next step is sheriff's sale. But it is a long process. It is not like landlord-tenant, where an eviction occurs and you have to be out within a week or two. Sheriff's sale takes some time, and the first step will be an appraisal of your house. The sale also has to be published in a newspaper, and the house must also sell for 2/3 of the value from the appraisal. It is a public sale. It's an auction that occurs at the courthouse. If the house does sell at sheriff's sale, the mortgage company has to request that the court confirm the sale to make sure that all the proper procedures were followed. Even if you've gotten this far, you can still request mediation up until the time that the sale is confirmed. Even while a foreclosure is pending in court, it is important that you continue working with your mortgage company. They will continue negotiating up until a sale is confirmed. So do not feel that it is too late to save your home if you've been served with foreclosure papers. And this is certainly not the time for you to move out. We recommend that you stay in your home until you get a notice to vacate the home, which does not occur until after confirmation of sale. There is time to work on saving your home. While no one can guarantee that we'll be able to save your home, there are certain steps that you can take. And as we've discussed, step 1 is to gather all your financial documents and prepare a budget. The best way to do this is to work with a housing counseling agency. Legal aid is also here to help. We can evaluate your case for defenses. We can represent you in full litigation, in negotiations, or in mediation. However, our resources are limited. In order to help us evaluate your case, we need you to contact us as quickly as possible when you're served with foreclosure paperwork. You also need to contact a housing counseling agency and complete a budget and gather all your financial documents. We cannot evaluate your case without all the paperwork being prepared. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage, we have discussed the steps you need to take. First, make sure you contact your mortgage company and keep in contact with them. Call 211 to connect with a local HUD certified counseling agency. And if you're served with foreclosure paperwork, contact legal aid at 241-2001 to get legal assistance as quickly as possible.